Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Broker Capital podcast. Today, we're joined by a man who really needs no introduction, Joseph Daoud from It's Simple. We only met recently, but mate, you have a lot of energy and a lot to share. And as your wife said, a lot of opinions. So I'm looking forward
A
to
lot of thoughts as
a lot
well.
of thoughts. Yeah. He thinks a lot. All right. Well, mate, I'm looking forward to hearing some of your thoughts today. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have to first of all be invited onto this show, but secondly, to have someone tower over me in the mortgage broking industry. It's not something that happens regularly. I'm 6'2", and then Simon comes along. Simon's 6'5". This isn't a normal occurrence. So, it was so good to meet you in person last week, and it's even better to be on this show. So, thank you so much for having me on, mate.
My absolute pleasure. So, Joseph, how did you find your way into mortgage broking?
Mate, it started all the way back in 2018. I always tell people I wasn't supposed to be a mortgage broker. It wasn't supposed to happen. I finished a degree in economics and mathematics, and I started applying for jobs. And Macquarie rung up and they go, "Yep, we'd love you to be a senior banking specialist." People hear the word Macquarie, they get excited. Oh my God, that's the millionaire factory. And I took the job without even actually going into detail what I was applying for. Soon enough, I realized I had a credit policy in front of me and a servicing calculator. I didn't know the first thing about mortgages. I always tell people should have been fired probably 15 times in my first 4 weeks for the mistakes I made. But thankfully, I had a manager that taught me the best thing in the world, and it's wins and learnings. It's not wins and losses. That was her saying. I don't know if they still run that at Macquarie. I don't know if that's still their tagline, but she saw the effort I was putting in. She saw that I was there until 7 p.m. some nights, and I didn't even have a client. I was just trying to learn, trying to understand it. And then just one day it clicked. And so, working at Macquarie, you're dealing with a lot of residential clients. You're dealing with a lot of PAYG. You're dealing with some self-employed and some complex self-employed, but not the really tricky ones. And toward the end of the year, I was settling, 20, 30 mil a month. I was I was putting in some big numbers. I still remember I had a pod of like 4 loan writers working alongside with me after I'd structure a deal. It was pretty awesome. But unfortunately, my father had a heart attack towards the end of 2018. And because of that, I just really had to assist at home for a period of time. He's better now, thankfully. But, um, you always hear, and you know me, you know how much I love my son. It's always family first with me, because your family's the one thing. Like money, you can always find a way if you work hard enough. You can always find another way to be able to create an income. But family is everything, man, and they're the people that you can lean back on the most. So left Macquarie. I helped my dad in his family business for a period of time. And then once, we were able to get him to settle down, move into some sort of pseudo retirement. He'll never retire, but some pseudo retirement. That's when I got the idea for It's Simple. And that was pretty much it. Bob's your uncle.
So, Matt, you were writing 20 or 30 mil a month at Macquarie.
Yeah.
And that was sort of like, were you getting a lot of inbound leads and then you're just closing them out? Is that how it works?
Mate, it started off as a lot of inbound, and then towards the end of my tenure, and when I say the end of my tenure, I mean like 3 or 4 months in, I was getting that many referrals from clients,
Wow.
booking me in. Hey, can you take care of my brother? Can you take care of my cousin? These are people that never met me in person. These are people that probably didn't even know what my face looked like. I didn't have an email signature with a face and all that stuff like I do now. But I think it's just the communication, effectively communicating what the current loan structure will be, how we're going to be able to assist people. And it became really addictive. The reason why I bring this up is why I stayed in mortgage broking. I had other opportunities in other places, but I think a lot of it was people were saying to me, "Oh, you've really made it simple. You've really made it simple. Thanks for making this easy for me," and those sorts of things. And I still remember going up to some of the inbound people and just saying, "Hey, don't book me in for the next week. I'm booked out with this many clients from referrals." I still remember my deputy director sitting me down and being like, "What are you doing and how can we replicate it?" And I was like, okay, that's a cool question. But, I'm just I always like to say to people, I'm just a normal person who gives a shit about other people. And I think that's the best way to put it. Like, I'm not always worried about other things. I'm worried about doing a good job. So I think that was a big part of it. And people were happy with my services. And yeah, it was really, really awesome. I will admit that, the tough times, tough clients, all that sort of stuff. But by being able to fulfill a lot of the requirements for people, I think that's what stopped me from stopped the inbound calling and just building a referral based business after that.
Mate, you were
And
made to be a broker, obviously.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I love being able to help people. And yeah, it's now it's at the point where, okay, how can I continue that facilitation? How can I train people further? How can I help others underneath me grow? And how can I help facilitate the future? Because I will say something, having that large of a loan book or having that many clients that you have to deal with, it's fulfilling, but it takes me away from my son and I need to be a good dad. So that's my biggest thing as well.
Okay, well, let's talk about It's Simple.
Yes.
So you went out, was it called It's Simple from the start?
From the start, it's simple.com.au.
Yeah, nice. And what did it look like at the start? And then I want to talk about what it looks like now and how it functions.
At the start, it was a one-man show. I wanted it to be a blank canvas. Nobody knows who the owner is. It's got to be like Lendy. It's got to be like all these things. And little did I know how hard it was to build a website back in the day before ChatGPT came along and taught us all how to use code. How hard it was to be able to facilitate leads, get in leads to your business if people have never heard of your company or they don't trust you. So a lot of my time was spent on the digital side, trying to build something out that the industry didn't need. Like, that was the issue. That was the core issue that I had. I wasn't an active broker. I had other brokers working in the team. Okay. But my primary objective was, how can I get more leads into the business so that they can fulfill the leads? What I ended up learning was the leads that we were getting in, whether it was from a landing page or a video or an ad campaign or something along the lines of that, they weren't sticky people. They were individuals that were rate shopping. They were individuals that were looking for a cashback. Because I don't know if you remember back in COVID, cashback was all the thing. Oh, yeah, $2,000, $4,000 if you refinance per property. Like, some people were getting 28 grand for like refinancing. It was crazy. But there were those incentives coming from the lenders. But what was happening is somebody would come to us, they would refinance, and then 3 months later, they would refinance with another broker. So whilst we had large revenue months within the first few months of operations and our lead system was working and our engines were driving people in, the issue was the revenue would be taken away very quickly because of clawback. And the first time you and I met, we did discuss this. We discussed how sensitive you are as a mortgage broker because of the way that banks assess clawback, the way that they could just take your commission away. All of a sudden, you've got $100,000 revenue month, and the next month it's $30,000 because you had 10 clients refinance. So we were trying to figure out why that was occurring. And why that was occurring was because of the clawback laws. So we had to change the way that we service customers, and we had to change the customers that we also were targeting at the same time. Best example of this is, look at CBA, NAB, Macquarie Bank, all the big four, all the big five that you want to call them. Their favorite customers that walk through the branch or go through Unloan or go through Ubank or go through any of the channels that you could do digitally are all PAYG customers. So I started to think about who needs our help the most: self-employed individuals. And I also started to think to myself, people are no longer trusting all these brands because of AI. People are no longer trusting the bigger corporates or the bigger institutions because they don't have a face to the name. So I decided to pull away, no longer do any of that lead generation, no longer do any of the tech stuff, but really focus in on the problems that self-employed individuals were facing. And around 2022, what was that? Rising interest rates, rising cost of living, restricted housing supply, rising house costs. We saw 13 interest rate rises in a row. So you had people go from 2% to 6% very quickly. They needed problems to be solved. And that's when I said, okay, if I know how to solve that problem, let's target that. Let's build our base audience there. And let's really focus in on those individuals because they need it more. It was a lower cost model for ourselves because we weren't spending money on ads at all times. It was a better client satisfaction role as well because we were able to solve problems that larger institutions couldn't. We were able to take someone, have a look at their situation and go, if you went to CBA, you'd get an instant decline. Your scenario is actually best for ANZ or AMP. So we were able to quickly deduce that. And that's where we were able to really create a niche and be able to stack on top of that and create a better experience for an individual that was coming to It's Simple from the start.
Love it. And right now, what sort of loan volume are you guys doing now?
I think last month we did 37.55 mil.
Nice.
I'll have to double check. It was either 37.55 or 37.65. This month we're on track to do 27.55 or something along the lines of that. So
Nice.
we're settling anywhere between 20 and $30 million a month. One of the months was an outlier. I will happily admit that. Okay. Because early in the year, a lot of the February settlements get pushed to March, all those sorts of things.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll admit it's an outlier.
Yep.
But it did happen. I think first time we met, I actually sent you the picture and you started laughing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you do the work, that's the sort of volume you could get. And yeah, I'm very proud of the fact that we're able to service so many self-employed individuals because they're the ones that need the problem solving the most. They're the ones that have the least amount of attention in the market.
So what percentage of the clients are self-employed? Like, are we talking 100%?
No, it's not always 100% because they're always referring someone that might be PAYG. But I would say 65% are self-employed.
Solid. Yeah. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that we can help small businesses grow and we can help people that are really giving it a go. We're able to help them and help service them too.
100%. And are you guys, is it all residential or is there some commercial in there?
No, we do a lot of commercial. So we were never meant to be a large-scale commercial brokerage. I built the business to help first home buyers. If you look at my very first Facebook post and my very first ads, they were all about first home buyers. But what ended up happening is you get people that need solutions. And I'm not the type of person that takes no for an answer or likes to disappoint anyone. So I taught myself how to do commercial loans. I partnered with, I made sure I got my NAB accreditation. I made sure I got my CBA commercial accreditation. I made sure I was accredited with all of them. I go to their PD days and I make sure I learned how to stack up a deal correctly so I could better service my self-employed customers. A lot of my self-employed customers need a warehouse to operate out of. A lot of them need to be able to get a business line of credit. So by being able to service them that way as well, I think that's where we were able to really carve out a niche for ourselves too.
Where do you send most of the commercial deals? Which lender do you go to?
It's between NAB and CBA.
Nice.
Both of them have helped us facilitate a lot of large scale transaction deals. We did do a massive one with Westpac last year. That was a $20 million lease stock application. That one I was really proud of. That was submission, 7-day turnaround time, formal approval.
Wow. 20 mil.
Yeah, I was so.
That's a good month.
I'm so big on receipts. This is my thing. Like, I don't like. People can talk about their numbers. Okay. People can talk about it, say this, say that. Okay. I think I was one of the first brokers, or I was the first broker to really just start showing people the submissions, the time I was submitting it, redacting information and just showing people, yeah, here you go. Here's the 20 million. I've seen the other things in the industry and I said to myself, no, I'm not that. And I've had so many people try to disprove me all my life. I'm like, no, I won't allow that. I've got to figure out a way to show people, hey, I can service these customers and I can produce for these people. It was a big thing for me. So that was awesome as well. That $20 million lease stock application. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I was really proud of that one.
Yeah. That's
7-day turnaround time. Like, how can you not be proud of that, man? It's a huge deal.
I think you need to share these things because otherwise borrowers, other brokers, lenders won't know how serious you are. So as much as it can feel like sort of, beating your chest or, sort of showing off or whatever, you do have to make noise.
I don't think anyone made more noise in the last 12 months than me. So I think I did all right with the banging of the drums there. Get the Lebanese drum out.
What was the award that you won at the Better Business Summit?
Industry thought leader.
Love it.
I'm a thinker, mate. I'm a thinker.
He does have a lot of thoughts.
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts, mate. A lot of thoughts. He has so many thoughts. God bless my wife for that. I had to run out. I just had an emergency that happened. And she goes, do I come with you? And I go, you have to stay here just in case I would, because nobody knows how much I care about this industry more than you. And she got up and she delivered a speech under pressure, no time to prepare, nothing.
She's impressive.
She smashed it, man. Oh my God. I've never ever, like, I was watching the video afterwards. I was like, you are genuinely amazing. Like, that was I had people from the advisor coming up to me. They're like, your wife is stunning. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And they're like, yeah, we can't believe how stunning she is. I'm like, thanks. Like, well, I'm not Simon, but like, I'm not
It's
the worst thing in the world.
yeah, you can't help but read into that, can you?
Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, it's so funny. It was so funny, but she did so well. I'm so proud of her. She's a doctor, so
Wow.
she doesn't understand all the things about lending. She doesn't
Yeah.
understand. When I tell her I've got this situation I need to comment on or I need to fix or something, she sits there. She's like, I don't understand. Like, why did it take so long to communicate this with the lender, or with, media or
Yeah.
something? She really, really just absolutely nailed how much I give a shit about this industry. So I was so proud of her that day.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to curse on this show? I'm going to do it anyway. So
Just
anyways,
go for it.
just
Yeah.
bleep me out.
Mate, having her there as a sounding board who's not in the industry can give you a
Yeah.
perspective on, like, some of the crazy things that happen that we just consider normal. When someone else says, wow, that's mad, you can be like, that's affirmation that you should tell more people about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a good
we'll get there
perspective.
eventually. It's great
Yeah.
perspective. So yeah, but she's amazing, man. Like, I'm so proud of her for that day.
So talk to me about the It's Simple team and structure, how many
Yeah.
employees you've got, onshore, offshore. I want to dig into how it all works.
When are we releasing this, Simon? Because that depends on how much I can reveal.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. 3 weeks' time?
Perfect. All right. I'll be done by then. Okay. So we've recently gotten our ACL. And
Well
the
done.
reason why we got our own ACL is because we want to be able to assist brokers in our group to grow. We don't want them to come to us and they're just an employee of It's Simple or something along the lines of that. We actually want to facilitate and help create something for the individual brokers when they come to us with their own ABN and they need that support. They need that marketing support. They need that deal writing support. They need that offshore support. We want to be able to provide that. So I wouldn't call it sub aggregation yet, but I will say that we're trekking along that way. I want it to be the It's Simple group. Right now within the team, you've got myself, Joseph, director, founder, broker, da. I've got Ash, who's my head of credit. She is the chief loan writer and she teaches all the loan writers underneath her. We've got Matthew as well. We've got Glenn, our sales director, who is now on the hunt for brokers in the industry to join the It's Simple group. And then we also have our marketing team, which is Liam and Michael. That's our videographer and our copywriter. We also have Isabella and Brian, who's in charge of activation as well. We've recently brought on the youngest broker in the industry. His name is Brandon. He's 5 times removed my cousin. I don't know how he's related. I can't
But
even
you
draw
got
the
the
family
same,
tree.
you got the same last name, right?
Same last name.
Yeah.
He's only just turned 18 and he's learning all the skills. So he wants to become a broker. He wants to start with current asset first and then move into the larger stuff later. So
Fair
we
enough.
are very proud that we have someone like him in our team now.
So talk to me. If somebody joins your network, what are they getting? Why should they think I want to ride on Joseph's coattails?
So I want to ask you a question. You're a new to industry broker. You have been oversold by someone. Oh, you're going to be able to do this. You're going to be able to do that. Yeah, sure.
Happens a lot. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Good. You've seen it before. You'll see it again. So they join your group. I've got a lead. What do I do with it? How do I submit the lead? How do I get more leads? How do I get more out of them? How do I become a successful broker? How do I make sure that the people around me trust me? They're key questions that nobody asks a broker at the start.
Yeah.
Nobody asks these questions. How do I fulfill my compliance? How do I make sure I follow the process in a correct way that all my deals are compliant? How do I build a trail book? A lot of brokers don't actually know how important it is to have a strong trail book. How do I submit an application without stress? How do I get a one-touch form approval? These are all key questions that people need to ask themselves before becoming a mortgage broker. And then my favorite thing to say to people is, okay, so you're a new to industry broker. You now compete against me. You are now competing against me. It might sound arrogant. It might sound cocky, but you are. Okay. So what are you going to do that's different to me? Okay. And if you can give me a sound, structured, succinct answer as to why they are competing against me, then I'm all ears. But at the end of the day, if you are competing against the Katie Thomases, the Christian Stevensons, the Joseph Daoud, the Chris Bates, the Matthew Moles, if you're competing against all these people, that means that you have to provide a product, you have to provide a fulfillment that they cannot. So we help brokers find their niche. We help brokers develop their brand voice. We help them develop their marketing content. their remarketing content. We make sure that they stand out every single time, okay, especially when it comes to their niche. My niche is self-employed individuals. That's my niche,
Yep.
okay? Your niche might be doctors. Your niche might be nurses. Your niche might be first-home buyers, okay? But brokers need to understand that when they join our group, they get that support to find their niche. They get that support to create that audience, and that they can fulfill that audience to become a high revenue making broker. And not everybody offers that when they join a group. We at It's Simple make sure that we do. We have our marketing team sit down with an individual and find out what their key goals are. Some brokers might not want to be 100 mil a year broker. Some might want to happily do 4 or 5 mil. They will happily do that. So how do we make sure that we don't put out too much marketing content where they're doing over those numbers, you know? We need to make sure of that. You see my marketing content, okay? You open Instagram, it's probably a video of me. You open up LinkedIn, it's probably one of my posts, okay? Like, I'm just going to be honest. But that's because I've got an ambition to write 40, 50 mil a month. That's my ambition. Somebody might not want that. But understanding the key details, developing that brand voice, getting your teeth, just cutting your teeth on those certain deals. And then on the back of that, having the fulfillment side of it. Okay, so you might get a lead. You might think it's the best lead in the world. But if Ash, our head of credit, sees that lead and sees that like these 10 issues with it that you haven't been able to answer, she's going to be able to uncover that really quickly. We want to make sure that brokers who come to us both develop in an effective way, they're able to remarket themselves, they're able to grow within their business, but they are also able to remain compliant at all times. And they're also able to submit one-touch application deals so they're not stressed out all the time. Because how do I know this? Because I've been that individual where I've been stressed out all the time. I don't want that for other people. Bro, 2024 was hard. Being honest.
Yeah, dude, that's compelling. You know, I really think anyone new to industry, it's an absolute no-brainer to come and work under an established broker. And you want a broker, I think, that, well, ideally is writing a volume that you want to write one day. So you're learning directly from somebody who is doing what you want to be doing. And that kind of by osmosis, that will rub off on you. And then there's all these other support pieces that you mentioned with like the training and the marketing and, you know, and the credit help, etc. I think it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, broadly speaking, the industry is going to move in this direction. There's going to be more Joseph Daouds. There's going to be more It's Simples.
Yeah.
Maybe not more of you. There's going to be more It's Simples with a whole network of brokers underneath them. And, you know, the reality is a lot of brokers want to do their job. They want to work with clients and they want to get paid well. And they don't want to deal with the ins and outs of running a business and hiring people and HR and everything like that. And there's going to be opportunities like joining your network that are just, you know, ripe for the picking.
Mate, I'm very proud of what we've built. And I think that new to industry brokers need to really consider before they go off on their own. They also really need to consider which aggregator they're going with, because like you could be paired up with an aggregator that doesn't support you effectively in the way that you need it to. Unless you've got the prior experience or unless you've got the right mentors around you, and I'm not pitching myself, please, like, don't worry about that. But unless you've got the right people around you that will help you manage your business, and grow, then it is extremely difficult as a new to industry broker to really crack into the market. I've seen it time and time again. Let's say you're a new to industry broker. Who's your referral partner? Who's your referral partner? How do you keep reminding your referral partner of your existence? Okay, so you've got a referral partner. Great. One of my brokers walks into their office and goes, hey, I'm going to give you a better commission split. And guess what? We're going to have Joseph Daoud oversee all these loans. Or let's say it's one of Christian's teams, okay? Or let's say it's one of Chris Bates' team. Or let's say it's one of Katie's team. They could walk in there any day to that same accountant and try and cut a deal with them as well. All of a sudden, you've got a referral partner that's gone. So you need to always be able to show that value to the accountants, to the real estate agents, the buyer's agents, all of them, and show how you are different from the rest of us. Being new to industry, it is extremely hard to find that. So I do agree with you. You need that higher level mentor. You need that higher group. You need that team around you to really become that effective broker that scales up and isn't that broker that, oh yeah, I did it for 12 months and I had to leave because the banks weren't working with me or something like that. What's the stat? 47% of new to industry brokers leave the industry within the first 12 months or something?
Yeah, something massive like that.
That's horrific. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's worse than personal training. I used to be a personal trainer. Like, it's a hard gig, you know?
Mm.
And to me, we need to be doing more for the new to industry brokers, but we also need to be doing more for the already developed brokers that are somewhat struggling to find their niche as well. I always say somebody that does everything does nothing. Like, really find your niche, hone in on it, and absolutely nail that thing. And you can only do that if you've got a good team around you.
You mentioned the aggregator before. Who's your aggregator?
Yellow Brick Road.
And, thoughts on, you don't need to go into too much detail about them, but in
I
general,
love them. I
Yep.
love Yellow Brick Road. Okay. I've had many passing comments when I'm at events. I've had many people say to me, Yellow Brick Road, why do you invest? Why are you with them? You should come over here. You need to give me a solid answer and a solid reason as to why I should switch aggregators. I've built a strong trail book. Why should I switch an aggregator? Oh, we're going to give you all this marketing technology. I built it myself. What are you giving me effectively that is better than what Yellow Brick Road has been able to do for me? What have you created? Okay, are you going to come in and you're going to be able to have me as a keynote speaker? Are you going to be able to funnel more new to industry brokers towards me? All these things. It is very difficult to get somebody that's established, that has been working for a long period of time, to switch over from one aggregator to another. And I know everybody looks at it and they're like, Yellow Brick Road, are you with them? Mate, Neil K. Roos was the first BDM in the industry. He was the first person to take a chance on me. You have to remember, I didn't have 2 years banking experience. I didn't have all the other things. I was this guy from Bankstown, with all these ideas, and people were just like, okay, new to industry, let's be a bit careful. Daniel K. Roos came and sat with me. He saw what I was trying to build, and he's like, I want to work with this kid because he looks like he's got some things going with him. And to me, loyalty, trust, respect, that goes a long way. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to be compliant. Everybody needs to be cautious. But the fact that he came and sat next to me, he saw what I was building. Okay. Why should I leave somebody that took a chance on me? Because great, you've got this piece of technology that I could subscribe for $189 myself. Like, sell me harder. Give me something else. Come on, man.
Yeah. So what should people look for when they're choosing their aggregator?
Support. It's support, PD days, education platforms. How are they going to help you propel your business? Are they the type of aggregator that's going to be providing you with leads? That's a very important thing as well. And they should really call around and get references from other brokers. This is what I love about the broker industry as a whole. We are both the most exhausted and stressed out individuals across Australia, and we're the most helpful. We just love telling people how we can help them, or, hey, don't go over here, because if you're truly trying to focus in on this niche, they're not accredited with this type of lender, and you might not be able to fulfill that niche as well as someone else can. You might want to go to this bank. You might want to go to this aggregator instead. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Bank of Queensland. Okay. Bank of Queensland, I'm not too sure whose panels they sit on at the moment, but we don't have them with Yellow Brick Road.
Right. Okay.
Okay. We can individually possibly get them afterwards, but I'm not too sure the reason why Bank of Queensland's not on there. So if you're targeting doctors, or if you're targeting nurses or anything like that, Bank of Queensland really, really has like funneled in and hit that niche really hard. You need to look for an aggregator that is good with that. But let's say you want first home buyers, and let's say you've got somebody that wants to purchase a home. They don't qualify for the first home guarantee because their income isn't high enough with the larger scale banks or something. Maybe you've got to look at a Resi Essentials. Who's Resi Essentials owned by? Yellow Brick Road. It's their in-house product. They could do a 95% loan with monthly LMI, and you only pay the LMI up for as long as the loan exists. So let's say you've got a first home buyer, they've got a 5% deposit, they want to purchase the property, they don't service with the other lenders, but because they have more favorable serviceability, you go ahead with them. You stretch out the loan to 40 years, you do the LMI monthly, and then once the property grows in enough value, you refinance them out to a major lender. You've removed the government as a guarantor because they weren't there to begin with. The client hasn't had to pay that much in monthly LMI. And on top of that, the person got a home in a heated market. So that's why really got to ask the question, who am I going to be working with? How am I going to be able to target these clients? And who's going to facilitate what's best for my business?
You mentioned leads. Have you ever taken any leads or received leads from YBR?
I haven't asked. Yeah. So maybe I should. Should I?
Yeah. I don't know. I was wondering if aggregators provide good leads.
I think I don't know the answer to that question because I didn't start off as a YBR franchise. Maybe if you're a YBR franchise, they do, but from
Yeah.
me on the aggregation side, I similar to Macquarie, I haven't had to go and hunt for that sort of stuff. Like, after a few months in, now my phone constantly, my problem is fulfillment and finding the right brokers to be in my network. Because if you're in my network, my reputation's on the line. And if my reputation's on the line, you got to be up to par. You can't be the type of broker that's going to be, it's 6 o'clock. I'm gonna go to bed. Oh, sorry, not bed. I'm gonna go. What's that show? Maths. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Maths.
watch Maths. Yeah, you can't be that person because I'm giving you a lead and you have to fulfill it as well as I can. Maybe I have high standards, but that's the type of person that I am. My issue is I could do more marketing content. I have chosen not to because if I create too much traffic towards our business, then all of a sudden what ends up happening, people don't get the simple experience they've had in the past. We've got 222 5-star Google reviews. That's not
good.
nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think about building rapport and trust with people?
Being yourself. That's it. Like people have, I'm taking my glasses off for this one because I get frustrated when I get frustrated with this question. Building trust and rapport. That does not mean taking somebody to fine dining. That does not mean you need to schmooze them and waiters and all this stuff. It means you need to make the person comfortable with yourself. If you are the type of person that takes referral partners out, or if you take individuals out or something like that, look at the individual that you're taking out with you. I'm talking about El Jannah, okay? Eat with your hands, okay? Nothing makes people laugh more than, a piece of tabbouleh being stuck in someone's teeth or something along the lines of that. Let people get to know the real you. Are you a fisher? Ask people if they want to go fishing with you, okay? Show people your favorite things in the world because I said it at the start. People don't buy from these large scale companies anymore because they're worried about it. They buy from the individual. And that's what my thing is. You always see me on LinkedIn commenting about how I love kebabs, how I love the basketball, how I love El Jannah. You see this type of stuff all the time because I'm a real human being. Not similar to what Katie said a few weeks ago on your show. She's not the individual that goes and sends out cakes and, oh, thank you so much and settled all that stuff. Because it's not her. But when she does speak to a client, she's on the phone with them for 2 hours. How are the kids? Okay, how's everything going? What are they up to these days? Oh, you know what? I went over here with my kids, because she's got 3 of them. I went over here with my kids and I was able to do this. Why don't you take your kids to do the same thing? And it's about actually developing a genuine interest. I'm so proud of the fact that I can say that I heard that video and I was like, I do the same thing. Like, I was happy with that because that's the truth. When you build that genuine rapport with people, you remember their birthdays, you remember their kids' birthdays, you ask them how's this person doing. They message you for advice. Hey, my kid's got colic. Like, what do I do here? I don't know the answer. My kid's only 9 months old, but he's chunky. But that's the sort of stuff that really builds things. So I don't like that question in the sense of how do I build rapport? You build rapport by being yourself and attracting the right people around you. And you really got to focus in on not trying to impress, but by doing the right thing every single time.
Oh,
now
mate,
put my glasses back on. I get too passionate about that stuff because I hate hearing that question.
Dude, it's a perfect answer. I think that's what it is. People, a lot of people over-engineer it or think that there's some sort of template to building rapport and connection. It's being yourself, right? Being honest.
You want to build rapport? Don't ignore text messages. Don't ignore somebody when they message you. Message them back. Tell them what's going on with your life. That's a great way to buid rapport.
Yeah.
Simon, have I ever ignored one of your messages? Oh, maybe
no.
one.
You pick up the phone too, which is great.
Yeah, do that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Be transparent, mate. You're helping people.
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
No, it's not. It's not. But it is a hard thing for some people. Go fail a few times, and then after you fail a few times, learn what you do wrong. Then you'll be okay. You're not going to die. Well, hopefully you don't. But yeah, you're not going to. It's a lower percentage than doing something else that's stupid. Okay.
Yeah. Mate, have you done any acquisitions along the way?
No, I haven't. I've been asked to do it. I've had a few people ask me, hey, would you consider buying this book or buying this? I haven't put much thought into it. Just because I've been building what we've been building. Maybe we will in the near future, but it's not like something that I'm like, yeah, let's go do it right now. I would love to. I'm open to the idea. I just don't know enough about it yet to really focus in on it. Yeah, and I've seen people have offered books to me, and I just kind of have a look, and it's like regional market for a loan size of this much. This is how much it's going to cost, and I'm like, so I'm paying $400,000 to get back $20,000 a year. I can't remember what the stat was, but it was like, and the people that we're servicing are low income earners in regional Victoria, an area we have nothing to do with, and I'm just kind of like, so like, how am I going to take care of that? I've got enough people in my area or my church or, the people that I focus in on. I've got enough there. Why do I need to go do this sort of thing? So it's, if you are going to acquire or if you're focusing on acquisition and everything, find out what stage of business you're in before you go and do that. Because if you're not in the stage of business where you can fulfill those clients as well, they're probably going to refinance out and go to another broker, and you're going to waste a lot of your money too.
Your tech stack when you run the business, what tech tools do you use? You mentioned something about making your own marketing tools or software tools. How does it work at It's Simple?
Oh, I've been in and out. So we use an enterprise version of Jotform. We
Okay.
also use an enterprise version of Coursebox. We use an enterprise version of Effie. We've recently brought them on board. You've heard of Effie, the new sales CRM that stacks on top.
Right.
Yeah. So Effie, what do you hear about every aggregator CRM? You're aggregator agnostic. I can ask you this question.
That's right.
It's not me saying it.
Mate, honestly, I can't put my finger on it because there are a lot of people who say to me, aggregator CRM is fine for what I need. And then there's other people who are paying for a separate CRM because they just can't deal with their aggregator CRM. So I don't have I think obviously it depends on the aggregator, but I don't have a direct read.
Have you heard anybody say this is the most phenomenal piece of software I've ever used?
No, but I have heard people say this is good enough. So
Is good enough good enough for long haul, or should you always be improving?
yeah. I use a CRM, right? I use HubSpot, and
HubSpot's good.
I still don't think HubSpot's good enough. So it's kind of like, I'm thinking about whether I need to build one custom from scratch or something using Claude Code. But I suppose, I don't know, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, where are you at? Are you the type of broker that's going to have 100 clients tomorrow? Or are you the type of broker that's doing 1 or 2, 3 a week? I always say this, look at where you are in the business before you go and advance, okay? The reason we've started using Effie is because Effie plugs in on top of Sales Tracker. So Sales Tracker was great for what we needed at the start, but now that we're looking to scale and do all these other bigger things, we needed to get someone on top that would assist with the communication between Sales Tracker and our marketing software, which is Active Campaign. So Active Campaign generates the leads. Well, not generates the leads, but we use the landing pages that we can build on Active Campaign to generate leads in the future, or to get people to sign back up or book an inquiry, Calendly, all those things. That goes through Effie. Effie then creates a second zap straight into Sales Tracker. So we now know exactly where the client came from, what video they came from, which landing page they went through. And then as they move through our new CRM, it changes in Active Campaign, the different sorts of stages. So we can automate a lot of the information moving forward, which is really good for us. We use cloud-based software to be able to store our client data for now, okay? But we also have a second level of security where every day it gets downloaded to a hard disk drive, and that hard disk drive stores all the client's information, because this is something that's very important that a lot of new industry brokers don't know. You need to protect your client's data. You have their tax file numbers, you have their passports, you have their driver's license. This is very, very, very important stuff. It's not something that you can joke with. Don't get them sending it over WhatsApp. Make sure it is saved in a good place, because you are the person that legally needs to take care of it now once it's in your possession. So we have our IT team that basically built a protective engine around all of our client data as well.
Yeah, fascinating.
And then furthermore, like any other technology, we Active Campaign, Sales Tracker, FE. We use a lot of Canva to create our templates. We use a lot of Adobe Suite as well. A lot of our videos are actually filmed and cut and edited on CapCut.
Yeah,
it's just inexpensive and it's really easy to use. Yep. Oh, we've got you can download it on desktop as well, but it's not expensive, and it's really effective when you're trying to communicate with people. So I love that system too.
So quickly?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a given.
Everyone uses quickly. Yeah. That's a given. What would you say is the best software tool you use as a broker?
Phone call.
Phone call. Yeah.
Outlook. I'm a big fan of also keep it simple, stupid. Okay. don't try and overcomplicate things because there's always a new technology partner coming in and disrupting and all this stuff, and they're gone 6 months later. We use a lot of email templates that we save in our Outlook. If we need to send something to a client, we do it. But we also built out KPIs to make sure people are effectively doing their jobs. You want to be good at your job, be efficient, don't depend on technology for everything. You can depend on it for some things, but everything else client facing, try and build out your templates so it's easier for you. You're spending less time on those items, but at the same time, you could be effective. So I can send out 50 fact finds in probably 10 minutes or something like that from my email without many like clicks because of the templates that I've built out. But I wouldn't trust my email software to always do it because there's always something malfunctioning. Somebody clicked the wrong button or somebody did something along the lines of that. So we're very specific with how we utilize each piece of technology and how we implement that across the team, because you need to know basically what I'm trying to get to. Don't just go buying any technology and thinking it's going to save your life. Understand it, make sure you build out a process around it, and then implement it afterwards. Don't do it beforehand.
What's the worst or most overrated piece of tech you've tried?
ChatGPT for sure. I can't share my screen. Go on my LinkedIn. Go look at my analytics. Okay, my following has grown by I think 60% in the last 12 months. My post performance, I've got a 2.1 million impressions or something stupid like that. Like it's good. I don't get ChatGPT to write my statuses.
Yeah,
That's what has separated me. Okay. And this is what I like to say. Because I don't get ChatGPT to write out my stuff and automate it and all this sort of stuff, what ends up happening is my brand voice sticks out more because people could tell this is an AI written. This is Joseph's genuine opinion. And people like that. So I think the people that are using ChatGPT for everything and they're trying to push it out, I think that's a very overrated piece of software that people are using. I think Quickly is essential for every mortgage broker to have. I think every mortgage broker needs to have some sort of email marketing software because you can't always pick up the phone and call your referral partner and be like, hey, this is the deal I did. They're going to be like, cool, why are you calling me? It's 2:00 on a Tuesday. But if you send them an EDM and it says deal of the month, it really complex, I'm trying to think, townhouse structure, duplex site, this is how we solve the problem. And you've seen me post this stuff on LinkedIn recently. This is my making the mortgage stuff. This is how we solved it. This is the lender that we went to. This is the LVR. This is the position that we're in. This is how much their net wealth grew by. If that's my referral partner EDM, and that's going out to every one of my referral partners, guess what they're going to think to themselves? Hey, this person isn't talking about bring your clients to me. We'll save them on interest rate. I'm talking about how I'm building wealth for people. And that is a problem that people want solved. Okay. That's a big thing. So ChatGPT to build our statuses, man, don't worry about ChatGPT. Speak your opinion. Okay. Look at Bora. Okay. Bora has absolutely nailed the market because Bora speaks to his audience every single time. Okay. People gravitate towards him because he knows what his audience wants to hear. And because he does that, that's how he's been able to grow his audience and how he's been able to build his business as well. Look at Hamish. Look at Yusuf that worked for him. They have done phenomenally. Okay. I mentioned the other brokers before, but I haven't mentioned B Money. B Money has done remarkably. I message Bora all the time and he is on the money. He doesn't use the ChatGPT stuff. He builds his audience effectively and he makes sure that people hear what he has to say, not what ChatGPT told to copy and paste.
Well said. I'm trying to get.
I'm very passionate. I'm too passionate about this stuff, Simon. You can't. You studied your interviewing before you got me on here. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, poking the bear. Yeah, I'm trying to get Bora on here. He's got a lot to say as well.
I'll message him. I'll see if I can. We'll set something up. He's a good bloke.
Thanks, mate. So when it comes to marketing, do you use an agency or any outside resources, or is it all internal?
Nah, all internal. We've got myself, copywriter Michael, who's also co-host on the Finance Show with Joe. Got Liam, our videographer and editor. And then we've got Izzy, who does our graphics whenever we need her. She's casually employed. We might get her into a full-time position as we scale. But yeah, she's been doing a lot of our graphics as well.
Awesome. So do you do paid as well as organic?
No paid.
Wow. So it's all organic. I want to get a feel for the type of content you put out and the frequency and the platforms.
Type of content, you need to focus on your pillars. Can you hear me? Yeah, you can. Okay. You need to focus on your pillars of engagement. Okay. Education, promotion, cultural, social. Okay. Education. What is that? Gone to a PD day. This is a lender that's providing a new product. This is This is how the market is shifting. What's the difference between if you buy now as opposed to buying later? How has your borrowing capacity dropped because of that? This is a lender that's now facilitating 1 year's financials for self-employed individuals. So that's your education portion. I'm just giving you stuff off the top of my head. There's more in there, but that's the sort of stuff. Then there's a promotional. What is promotional? Promotional isn't I'm going to give everybody a free hat if they come to It's Simple. It's not a promotion. Okay, promotional is how you've been able to effectively promotion is marketing your business, marketing yourself as an individual, and how you're effectively able to help people. So you see my promotional stuff. Number one, Just Financed. Just Financed is this is what we did this month. These are the people that we helped. These are the lenders that we used. These are the best interest rates that we saw. This is how much money we saved people, or something along the lines of that. Then I have Making the Mortgage, where I take the mortgages out of each of those. I show the problems that we faced. I'm not perfect. Every application is different. Not every application is a one-touch formal approval, but taking that mortgage, showing people, hey, this is where the valuer came in with a lower valuation, or this is where they came in with a lower rental appraisal. This is where the bank didn't consider the pay rise that an individual received. This is where they started questioning the salary sacrifice, even though we explained it in the loan notes. Those sorts of things. Putting it in Making the Mortgage, and then showing the solution afterwards. Hey, this is how we quickly actually solved it. And then after that, what is the result of the individual? Well, the individual has grown their net wealth by $500,000, or the individual has been able to expand their business, or the individual was able to buy a home. Could be as simple as that. But showing them Making the Mortgage, and then after that, next page is the Just Finance, just a copy and paste version of the Just Finance. So that's part of the educational stuff as well. The promotional stuff as well. It's showing people that you can actually solve their problems. The next thing is part of promotional is actually attending events, getting the client testimonials as well. Client testimonials is a huge promotion because that builds your credibility. Oh, he's educating. Oh, he's able to show what he's actually been able to do. Oh, and guess what? People are actually saying that, yeah, he can actually do this stuff, so that's all part of the promotional stuff. The next thing is the cultural or the social stuff. Social and cultural, that's your PD days, that's friends in the industry, that's giving BDM shout outs. You need to give your BDM shout outs, by the way. Okay, their bonuses, all right, are all tied on their performance. And if you recognize their hard work, they're going to pick up the phone next time you give them rings. Giving them the shout out too. Making sure that you're always top of mind. Okay, when I say social, cultural sort of stuff, I'm also talking about me posting about my baby. Okay, I love Charlie to bits. He's a big chunky boy. That thing's everything to me. So being able to find that sort of stuff. Muhammad Zah, the other day, he was posting a photo of him fishing with a broker from Victoria. Okay, because they're friends through fishing. That's a great example. Okay, just showing people that you're a real individual. Keep going back to the ChatGPT stuff, because I see it on LinkedIn. I see the same brokers posting the same ChatGPT stuff 50 times a week. And I'm just like, that's not going to work. It needs to be a mix of stuff to get people to really hit on it. That's just on LinkedIn. Now let's go to Instagram. So Instagram's a whole other piece of content. That's your Instagram stories. That's your showing people day-to-day things that are occurring. You follow me on Instagram. It could be something as simple as me posting a quick video on why I don't like a government change and how that could effectively hurt the market. That's just an Instagram story. It could be a poll. It could be asking the public a question. It's a really good way for you to find out what the public actually likes, because LinkedIn is a little bit different to Instagram. LinkedIn is good for B2B. Instagram is good for B2C. And then that's where you can really recognize the individuals in the community that actually need your help. So that's when you post your videos. Okay, what videos hit best? What do people want to see more of? What do they want to engage more with? Do they want to engage more with the anti-government stuff that I do? I know. Yep, we all know it. Do they want to engage more with the banking stuff? Do they want to see more about the property education side of it? These are all things that you can quickly discover on Instagram. And then what you end up posting on there ends up speaking to your community, and that community will end up sending you leads as well. My primary two sources of marketing are LinkedIn and Instagram. The good thing about both of those is LinkedIn keeps you front of mind to your referral partners. Instagram keeps you front of mind to customers and potential customers. It's very easy for, let's say, Simon, you've got two mates, all right? Both of them need a construction loan. Both of them are reaching out to people. All of a sudden, you see a video that, hey guys, this is how we made the mortgage. This is how we were able to create this construction loan for this person, this application and stuff. You send it to two of them. All of a sudden, those two individuals are now messaging me and asking me, hey man, I really liked your video. I want to be able to do this as well. Who do I speak to in your team for a construction loan? So that is how we use those two things. We, on average, get anywhere between 16 to 18 applications, not leads, applications from Instagram per month and LinkedIn.
Nice.
And that's not the return clients as well. So yeah, that's the mix of the content. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but I hope there was some good tidbits for you to be able to post there.
No, and mate, I think it's brilliant. Look, I mean, the fact that you do organic only, and that you so clearly put everything into these buckets, and everything you're putting out is real. There's no ChatGPT. Like you post a lot. Like, what sort of frequency are we talking on LinkedIn?
Twice a day on LinkedIn, probably once a week on Instagram, but Instagram stories, I'm very active.
Yeah.
And also collaborations on Instagram. So it's simple collaborating with Joseph Daoud, or Homeland University collaborating with Joseph Daoud, or Joey Shandon after Moe Shandon. I was 18, man.
You just kept it. Yeah, I'm sure you were 18.
What do you want me to do? Yeah. But anyway, so like that sort of stuff. When you do the cross collaboration, the good thing about that is I'm not posting on my page all the time asking people to like stuff. It's my business collaborating with me. Okay, they see it once, they can like it, they don't see it again, but it gets a lot of followers back to It's Simple as well, which is a really effective way to get people driven towards the channel too.
So, I mean, instead of spending money on paid ads, you've invested money into a team. I mean, I can't say that I've spoken to any other broker that has a copywriter.
Yeah.
Or like, did you say you've got a videographer? Like, who else is in that marketing team?
It's videographer, copywriter, casual graphic designer, and Brian handles our activation. So that's the events that we do.
Yeah, wow. I love that. And when you have those professionals focused on helping you produce this content, the quality is just going to be so much higher.
It's worked. That's the thing. Like, I know people say, oh, how do you know this is going to work? Well, this is the result. But it's not something that works instantly. It's something you got to keep working on. It's something that you've got to have a strong belief in. This is going to work. This is going to work. I've had people try and be like, no, it doesn't work. No, your podcast shit, all that sort of stuff. Cool. It has worked. The business has grown. We've done these numbers. I'm not from one of the big brokerages and left there and then started my own thing. I didn't have the referral partners. I didn't have those things. I'm Joseph Daoud from Bankstown, from, the Patstow, like this is the area I grew up in. This is where I went to school and stuff. This is how I built my business. It's not something that, we were able to go get 50 referral partners from here or go do 50 houses over here because of this. No, this is from socials, and I just had a voice and I knew I needed to use it.
What do you think about offshore staff? It sounds like most of your team are onshore, or do you have some offshore?
We're building it out.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to be honest with you. We're building it out.
Nice.
So we've got 2 offshore at the moment. This is one thing I always have to say to people. When it comes to offshore, they don't think like Australians. They come from a place of necessity. So they're not outside the box thinkers. They need their set tasks and they need to understand them from top to bottom. But you can't get them to think outside of that box. You can't expect them to think to themselves, oh no, it's not going to work at this bank. It's going to work at this bank, or something along the lines of that. They are very, very inside the box people because they're working from a place of necessity. They don't have the luxuries that we have. They don't have the dole. Okay. They don't have Medicare. They don't have public schooling. They don't have housing commission or, social and affordable housing. They don't have these things. They need the job to survive. And if they don't have a job, they go hungry. That's it. Well, oh no, the Philippines itself, I think, has a population of like 70 or 80 million.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And it's the size of Tasmania. And, we've heard all the stories over there of people that struggle. So when you give them a task, make sure it's written out top to bottom. So that's why we've brought on 1. They've been very effective for what they do. We will be we brought on 1. We've brought on our 2nd recently. And that's why we're going to be able to bring on our 3rd. But you need to do it slowly. Don't ever think to yourself, offshore is going to be able to do everything for me. It doesn't work that way. You need to sit down and train them, and you need to make sure they're effective in their specific role, but don't expect them to do everything for you.
Do you still write loans yourself?
Yeah. Are you joking?
Well, I mean, some people, when they get to your size, it's like, I want to oversee everything, but you're very much on the tools.
Very much. I'm not doing So we've got it tiered. Everything that's 6 mil and under is not in my hands anymore. I'm
Okay.
overseeing.
Yep.
I'm still directing. I'm still telling them how to do it. If it's commercial, you better believe I'm taking care of that. But everything that's 6 mil under is not so much my portfolio anymore. That's Ashley's. So Ashley does take care of a lot of that stuff. Everything that's between I want to say 4 mil under is both Ashley and Matt. 2 mil under is Matt. That's how we're kind of scaling the business right now. That's why we've brought Glenn on. So Glenn is going to be the sales director who's going to be managing the other brokers that are in the team and facilitating the leads that come to me or come to the business throughout, because we don't want to be, we effectively don't want a $10 million client to be going to a new to industry broker. Okay.
Yeah.
If they bring it themselves, that's fantastic, but we need to support you. But if it's somebody 8 mil plus and it's somebody that really needs that fine touch, that real methodical, we have to build this out correctly. Otherwise it could go to shit pretty quickly. We've seen that before. We need to make sure that we fill it the correct way. And that's a big thing for me too.
How do you think about reinvesting money back into the business versus taking profits for yourself so you can live, a good lifestyle?
Yeah, it's got to be a blend. You can reinvest. And you and I have spoken about this before. You've got to reinvest, but there comes a point where you have to stop and think to yourself, is this impacting my family life? If I reinvest this money, is it going to impact my social relationships and stuff? There's got to be an effective balance between the two. But if there is an opportunity, take it. Like, I'm very big on saying yes to opportunities, building around it, sort of thing. I don't like. I think paying yourself a salary is the best way to do it. Pay yourself a salary compared to the way that you think that you should be paid. Dividends, something along the lines of that, trust, distributions. I'm not too sure. However, somebody's built their business, but make sure it's in line with your lifestyle as well. Okay. Don't have $100,000 a month and then blow it all on one car or something. Okay. Pay yourself a salary that's effective, but then reinvest, make sure your business has retained earnings and reinvest that money back into the business to help grow. Okay. There's nothing wrong with having retained earnings if you're going to be able to reutilize that, reinvest in the business and help the business grow. I think that most business owners or business directors need to be on a salary. And plus, it makes it much easier for yourself when you go and apply for a loan too.
Totally. Yeah. And everyone has
Mm.
bills to pay. You want to have that consistent income
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is another thing. Get your break-even analysis. Okay. Build it out, but then also build out multiple models of it. So my model for my break-even analysis has a 10% referral partner fee
Oh, yeah.
and a 5% clawback rate.
Yep.
Okay. Built into it. We don't have a 5% clawback rate. Okay. Our clawback rate's much less than that. We don't have a 5% clawback rate. By building out the business model like that, you can effectively build out your revenue model. And then that's when you can really highlight the points of, okay, this is where we can reinvest here. This is where we can reinvest there. This is when we can start doing these sorts of things.
And how do you think about broker compensation? I know it's often a balance between encouraging them to write maximum volume while giving them a steady base. How do you think about it?
I think retainer-based model is the best way to do it. Build out a retainer, something that makes sure that they can flourish and eat. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the first thing. But also at the same time, are they being effective in their role? I can provide you 10 leads a month. I can provide you 10 leads that are hot, warm applications every single month. But if you don't fulfill those, that means that you shouldn't be within the business. I'm not saying the first month training and stuff. You know what I'm getting at. But what I'm trying to say is it's all about partnering up with someone that's going to make sure that you are effective in the long run. They are betting on you to be a good broker, but you also need to bet on them to be able to provide for you too. So that is the best way I like to see it. I am happy to pay salaries. I am happy to do that stuff. I'm happy to pay somebody a very good salary. What I don't like is somebody getting an effective salary, but not looking at the overheads of the business and saying to themselves, they don't look at the overheads and then they go, oh, I can't believe that this much commission might be coming into the business. It's like, yeah, good. Do you know how much your salary costs? Do you know how much your superannuation is? Do you know how much it costs for your computer, your insurance, your onboarding software? Adds up, mate. Adds up. And, did you get affected by clawback? No, you're on a salary. They don't think of that. So that's the reason why I like the commission-based model more than I like the salary-based model. This is someone, this is just me. Other brokers might have it better than me. Love to listen to them. I'd love to listen to them. But right now, for myself, I find this, like having a baseline model, retainer based model, it gets people to perform better. And if you can give people the way to perform better, then they should be able to, and they should be able to hit those KPIs too.
Nice. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first started?
Oh, not everyone on LinkedIn's a liar. First thing. Oh, man. That's why I'm so big on receipts. The amount of messages, the amount of emails, the amount of cold calls I got. We're going to help your business do this. We're going to help your business do that. Here's your invoice for $20,000. Pay it right now. And I'm sitting there, I'm going, who the fuck, what's going on? Mate, there was a few times I paid those $5,000, $7,000 invoices. Okay. And I thought to myself, this isn't going to work. And then I found out that person didn't even do like 1% of what they said they were going to do.
Wow.
Okay. And mate, it hurts. It hurts. And do they care? No, no, no. So like I might walk into a meeting now and you will see me be an absolute prick because I've worked hard for my money. I run through a brick wall for my clients, all for you to come in and say, I've got this great product and I'm going to change your life. Mate, the amount of people that I've walked in now, what was the old one? The old one was, I'm going to run your Facebook ads and I'm going to guarantee you 10 leads a month and all this stuff. Now it's, I'm going to build you AI agents that are going to be able to do this, this, and this. And it's just like, okay, you're coming to my office. You're going to show me these AI agents that you can build. And if I could build a better one than you in less than 5 minutes, okay, get out. Like that's it. You're not welcome here anymore. And 90% of the time, they can't prove me wrong. The only people that came to my office recently that really, really, really showed me an effective way of how they could change my business was Effie. They're located 8 floors below me. They rocked up and they didn't try and sell me shit. They go, this is what we can do. This is what we can't do. This is what we can do. I looked at them and I was like, okay, show me this. They showed it to me right then and there. Then they just went through the whole thing and I was like, okay, no. Because they haven't tried to sell me, because they haven't tried to over propose anything or overdo anything, that's what impressed me the most about them. Because, mate, LinkedIn, anyone can go in there and say they're going to do a billion and one thing. So never, ever, like if I could trust one thing that I could do back then changed to now, it's don't trust everything, like all the people that are DMing you or messaging you on LinkedIn because, mate, half the time it's a manila agent or an AI agent that's messaging you anyways. You have to be super duper careful with that sort of stuff.
Good advice.
And you saw how passionate I was about that.
Yeah,
the glasses came off
100%.
again.
Mate, this is going to be passionate too, I feel. What would you most like to change about the broking industry?
I think it needs to be longer to become a mortgage broker. You can't be a mortgage broker after one day course. Okay. I want to put in something to the government to say everyone with a certificate 4 and a diploma, unless you've got 10 years experience now, whatever it is, okay? You can't be jumping into the mortgage broking industry independently anymore because I have seen it time and time and time again. People are getting into the industry. They don't know what they're handling. They don't know the sensitive information that they're taking care of. They don't know what they're actually being trusted with. And customers, clients, individuals, their homes, their children, everything around them is being affected by it. So I think we need to have a longer course because too many people are entering our industry now. We've got 27,000 brokers in our industry. It's either 22 or 27,000. Nobody knows the exact number, but it's somewhere in between that. Okay. Of those, 50% of them leave the industry. Okay. Are they keeping track of their data after they've left the industry? Do they have a hard drive that they've got the client data stored on that for that 12 months that they were in the industry? Is anybody reviewing that? No, not a single person is reviewing that. So I think it needs to be a longer course. I think people need to spend more time understanding the importance of what they're collecting, and somebody needs to be drilling on the compliance harder because it's one day course to become a broker and handle somebody's tax file number. Get out. Like I just think it's the worst thing in the world. Genuinely, it needs to either be a longer course or it needs to be there needs to be some sort of university level requirement. There needs to be something involved that both is you could detect that somebody has written their assignment on ChatGPT as opposed to writing it on themselves. Like that stuff needs to be implemented as well because it is way too easy to get into this industry. Too many people are looking at it and being like, "Yeah, you see how much money you can make doing this," and I'm just like, "Do you understand what you are doing? Do you understand that that is someone's house? That is their house. That is where they're bringing up their kids. You need to take care of that. That is what you're being trusted with. And to just 24 hours later, an Uber driver has the same skills I do. I don't think same skills, the same qualifications. That's not fair.
Yeah, totally agree.
So,
Right. Yeah, man.
You've wrapped me up. You know me too well, man. You know me too well now.
Okay, last one. What's Joseph Daoud? What is the future of the mortgage broking industry?
That's a good question. That one stumped me, man. I think the mortgage broking industry, similar to what we're seeing with a lot of. Okay, you're gonna follow me here. Nike used to be here. Adidas, Puma, all that, but you had the other 4, 5. But Nike was there, Nike and Jordan, right? Now you've got all these other brands. You've got New Balance, you've got Asics, you've got OnCloud, you've got Hoka, you've got all these other independent brands that have come out because they weren't happy with what Nike was doing. I think the mortgage broking industry, but each one of those now has their specific niche, who they're targeting, and who's buying that, because you're getting a lot more people being fulfilled. I never thought I'd be using OnClouds as my everyday sneaker, but they fulfill exactly what I need. Similar to the mortgage broker. We had the big dogs up the top, and then they started to slowly spread out a bit, and you've got the big 4 banks. You can now see it. I think 77% of all home loans are written by a broker. But what you're going to see is you're going to see these larger channels, okay, these sub-aggregators or these aggregators or whatever. They're going to be the main channels for all the brokers to be able to thrive in. Each one of those is going to be super specific, and they're going to be able to nail their market every single time. And I think that by having these subgroups underneath it, that is what's going to be the future of the mortgage broking industry. There's not going to be a monopoly. There's not going to be a single operator or anything like that. But there is going to be a big 10 or a big 20 that people turn to whenever they need that sort of assistance. I also think that the mortgage broking industry is going to become more scrutinized as we're seeing less and less aggregators take on new to industry brokers. And I also see a lot more brokers partnering up with certain lenders for specific reasons. And that is going to end up helping other customers be able to grow further or be able to, fulfill more things. By being like an in-house agent or in-house broker for, I don't know, I'm not going to say a name because I might get in trouble. I always get in trouble. Anyway, so yeah, being like an in-house partner with a certain, so let's cut that out. Brokers are going to work with certain lenders and they're going to be favored upon. We already see it in the industry, but that specific group is going to be the front runner for it. I also think that they're going to get rid of these Cert 4s. I just think that's going to go. I think that it's going to be a requirement that you work in-house with a mortgage broker mentor for a period of time. Next week, we have our annual mortgage broker mentor meeting with the MFAA. 90 of us are meeting together, and we're going to be proposing changes and what we're seeing in the industry, what we think is best. And I'm going in there with a picket sign. We need to train brokers more before they're allowed to go and engage with customers too. Because it's not fair. It's not fair to the customer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Yep.
Joseph Daoud, thank you so much, mate. That was brilliant. I knew you'd have a lot of thoughts, and you did.
So many thoughts.
So many thoughts. And I think we could have gone for another hour, but I'll have to get you back on here. But
mate, I'm more than happy to come on anytime. And you're coming on the Finance Show with Joe in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So, mate, I hope you got a lot out of me. You asked a lot of really good questions that people don't usually ask me. I am worried. I'm scared.
That's a good sign, I think.
But I have a lot of thoughts, Simon. I have a lot of thoughts, mate.
Oh, so good.
I had to get them out there somehow. But anyways, okay. Mate, I'll catch you later. Man. Thank you so much. If you guys did listen to this, you got the most unfiltered version of me. And, that's who I am. That's it.